Welcome to the campground. Just kidding.
Well, actually, we're back home.
We were going to do this at the campground, but we came home early.
Yes, we did. Well, I'm Tony.
I'm Peggy.
And we're two RV industry veterans who travel part-time
in this Rockwood Mini Light.
Looking to share big adventures and help you with great tips,
tricks,
and discounts.
So even though we're not in a campground, we're still in the camper because we like it out here.
Yeah, right?
You can see our desert.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody's kind of getting ready for camping season, and some of you, bravo, you're already camping.
Yeah.
But a lot of times at this time of year, we get a lot of questions about, oh, my air conditioner is not working, or it's not working properly and it's just making noise. Well, now's the time to go up on the roof and check how clean the air conditioner is if you haven't done so already. But also, inside a lot of these air conditioners, there's just a plastic or kind of foam divider that can get loose. And if it gets loose, basically the air conditioning is just air conditioning itself. We have a picture of what ours looks like inside. It's a Coleman Mach. And you might also get some of that aluminum ducting tape and kind of reseal if you choose to drop the interior piece on the air conditioner. We also had Daryl Apts from the Wacko RV AC silencer at one point come and replace our whole interior, basically the plastic part, with his silencer, and he went through and really taped up the inside of the air conditioner quite a bit.
Right.
So something to think about. So if your air conditioner is not working properly, perhaps it's not anything really bad. It's
a little jiggly, wiggly.
Yeah.
Maybe a little dirty because, everything that has a filter, those filters get dirty. That's the whole point of having a filter, so you can clean it and not destroy your whatever it's filtering.
Yeah, that's true. We do have a story about the RVAC silencer and what Daryl did linked in our show notes down below.
So we were visiting Overland Expo, and there are just all sorts of off-grid RVs there.
It was just nuts, and some of these would not really work for harvest hosts because they aren't self-contained, but for those that are, they're perfectly suited for a harvest host membership.
Because they could be off the grid. Let's hear more about harvest hosts. Okay. What do you think?
It's time to play Harvest Host, Facts versus Fantasy, where we talk about the latest updates to the Harvest Host program. Harvest Host is a service that matches you with over 5,000 locations in North America, where you get to stay in your self-contained RV. These places offer all kinds of great experiences and range from restaurants to breweries, museums, farms, and so much more. Not only do you get a great and memorable overnight stay, but these places offer incredible experiences that you'll want to share with your friends and social media. The places you stay have changed, and so we wanted to share the facts versus the fantasy about staying at Harvest Host.
Let's welcome our first contestant to Harvest Host, Fact or Fantasy. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, here's your first question. How many nights can you stay at a harvest host?
Oh yeah, I'm already here.
Yeah.
1!
No, not true.
What?
Some hosts will actually allow you to stay up to 4 extra nights, and you can find these hosts on the Harvest Host website or the app where they will show you how many extra nights are available.
Wow, that's cool.
Okay, the second question. Ready?
Yeah.
What kind of hookups are available at Harvest Host sites?
Ooh, I know.
You don't have to raise your hand.
Oh, none.
I'm sorry, but that is also incorrect.
What?
Many hosts are now offering electrical and water hookups.
Wow.
Yeah, you can filter the Harvest Host map to find hosts that offer extra nights and electric and water. Hosts may charge you a fee to stay that extra night or to use electrical hookups, but these are just 2 of the ways that you can support your host business during your stay. They will keep 100% of the proceeds.
Well, it sounds like I'm a Harvest Host dunce, but now I know more.
All right, that was a lot of fun, but actually we
It was.
are big fans of Harvest Host, and Tony does know the answers to those questions.
I actually do. We've had all kinds of great experiences at Harvest Host, including farms where we got to meet alpacas and pigs and cows.
And horses and the fluffiest bunnies you'll ever see. And fainting goats.
Yeah, we met those too. Well, I really like that a lot of the Harvest Host locations are breweries, which means great beer, great food, great atmosphere, and, well, you're at a brewery. In fact, we've camped with friends at several of these breweries.
Indeed.
So that's another fun aspect of Harvest Host.
Yeah, there's also wineries, golf courses, museums, incredible historic places. We have got to eat apple cider donuts, and we even got to sleep one time on an airport runway.
Yeah, so there's so many great experiences. There are over 5,000 locations in North America already, and they're always adding more.
That way, it's a great alternative to expensive campgrounds, crowded campgrounds, or, noisy, sketchy parking lots.
Yeah, there's not going to be that midnight knock at the door telling you to get out. It's a secure reservation made through the Harvest Host app or website, and you can rest assured that you got a great place to stay. You can find a discount to Harvest Host at our home on the web, along with an interview with Joel Holland from Harvest Host.
With more hosts offering more features and our discount, this is the perfect time to join Harvest Hosts.
See you there. All right, so we are back from that silly game show ad that we did. We like that ad, but we're silly, so
Yeah,
there you go. So we went to Overland Expo West, and Overland Expo is a number of these trade shows, for lack of a better description, about overlanding. And some of you might go, well, what in the wide, wide world of sports is overlanding?
Okay, so I used to think it was boondocking, and in a way, it is boondocking, but it's kind of boondocking on steroids, maybe. We talk a lot about boondocking and overnighting at Harvest Host and things like that. And I think one of the big takeaways I took from this weekend was kind of a different definition for boondocking versus overlanding. And my short answer is boondocking is off the grid, overlanding is off the road.
Well, the definition is described as finding adventure by traveling into unpopulated and more natural environments in a vehicle that is designed to be able to support its occupants or riders.
Both on trail and while being in that environment.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's a lot of people boondock, and a lot of people actually, maybe that's where the fear of boondocking comes from, is they think they have to overland in order to boondock.
Right, and I mean, you can boondock at a parking lot, at a winery, brewery. There's no, I mean, if you could take 10 steps and get to the road, that's okay. It's just boondocking, by our definition, is camping using the services in your RV.
Yeah, not being hooked up to any kind of services.
And then there's tent camping, which is a different enchilada. So
which is certainly overlanding, because if you have a tent and the right vehicle, you could go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about towing something that can make the clearance and all that behind it. It's just go.
Yep. So about Overland Expo West, I think they estimated like 30,000 people, and there were something like 400 vendors. It was enormous.
It was enormous.
There were, I think, 250 classes, workshops, and presentations. There was probably 20 to 25 food trucks.
Yeah, there were a lot of food trucks, a couple coffee carts, some really yummy cookies.
Yeah. There was also an app, which we didn't really like all that much.
It wasn't the best app ever. Now, I will say the FRVA app, when they have events, their app is a lot more user-friendly, I feel, than this one was. One of the things that this app provided but didn't seem to quite make the mark was it listed all the classes and seminars, but it listed them all in one long list. So on Sunday, if I wanted to find a seminar, I had to start at Thursday and work my way all the way down to the bottom. And there were a lot of them.
Yeah, as we said, like almost 250 presentations.
So I had to scroll down to find it. Also, the map was not like really interactive. It was like...
Oh, it was just
like a PDF kind of.
Well, it was an image of the map.
Yeah.
So then you would have to, you go to booth A26, whatever. You would have to pinch and zoom and scroll around. Well, by now, you're like, what was I looking for again?
Right.
So, yeah, the app was, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It can be.
I don't know that this is true, but it feels like what a wonderful app it would be if I could look for a vendor alphabetically or by search, and it said they're in A26, and I could press it, and it would, and actually it looked like the booth number actually looked like something that you could touch and go to, but that was not really a function. So that would have been fantastic if it just, flipped right to that part of the map, so I would have some idea of where I was supposed to be looking.
I mean, you don't go there for the app, right?
Well, right.
But as in a trade show that big,
it was so huge.
Helpful,
yeah, it
right?
was kind of. I think we kind of walked around more than we needed to because we couldn't really figure out how to logically get through the places that we wanted to get through.
And obviously, if many people have gone multiple times. We had a night at the campground. It was really an awesome place. I really liked this campground.
Yeah, the campground was great.
Now, you can camp at Overland Expo, but not with a trailer as long as ours.
Right.
There were people there who had been multiple times and just really embraced the overlanding world. So I could see going back. But if you've been to an RV show, typically that's where mostly dealers come and show off RVs for you to buy, and they're packed so tightly, right?
Yeah.
Not this. Of course there were RVs, but this was just this sprawling, as I said, 400 exhibitors. It was enormous.
It really wasn't dealerships. It was like every manufacturer kind of. Because a lot, a majority of RVs that are going to be good off-road vehicles are like teardrop style. There were, I don't know how many rooftop tent styles.
Oh my gosh.
And so every manufacturer, like four-wheel pickup truck campers, the pop-up campers, the whatever brand teardrop, each brand was its own booth rather than a dealership trying to compare all the different brands.
Yeah. There were more manufacturers there. There were dealers too, but the booths, even with the RVs, like Grand Design themselves were there with their new Lineage Class B, and they've done a good job with it. And we're getting ahead of ourselves. Another thing, there was tons of ways of making whatever you drive, including motorcycles, more able to drive off-road. So suspensions, tires, wheels. I mean, like Riken was there, Firestone was there. Just anything you can do to make your vehicle more capable. There were 10 booths for that, right? Jeeps. Land Cruisers, Land Rovers, pickups, all of that stuff was there. So what kind of overlanding stuff
there was
did
also
you
a
see?
bunch of gadgets. There were fancy sleeping bags. There were a few different vendors that made off-grid shower solutions and shower tents.
Yeah, there were off-grid toilet solutions.
Yes.
Composting toilets. There was just folding wooden toilets.
Folding wooden toilet, like seats, basically, that you can put on a bucket or put over a ammo can or whatever.
So the can would be an ammo can.
Those were pretty cool.
Yeah.
There were straps and ropes and, climbing gear. There were ropes, I swear, bigger around than my calf.
Oh, yeah, there were like ship
huge.
Quality ropes, right? You could tie up your ocean liner.
They were crazy big.
There was a lot of recovery gear too, of course, because if you're going overland. In fact, off topic, one of the seminars I noticed was how stuck am I?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And were we there, or were we somewhere where we just watched a video of someone rescuing an SUV of some sort that was on a dirt road, and they didn't really fall off the road. The road kind of crumbled below them.
Yeah.
And that SUV was like halfway in the ditch, and watching them decide how to rescue that thing was probably nothing to do with Overland Expo. It just struck my memory, like all the equipment and the thinking that had to go into like pulling someone out of a weird situation.
Yeah, it was impressive. There were also a number of propane-powered fire pits, including the tripod torch that we saw at Quartzsite.
Exactly.
And something I didn't write in the notes, there were cooking demonstrations at some of these propane-powered fire pit booths. So they also had cooking demonstrations there too.
Oh man, we could have had a free lunch.
Yeah, yeah, that's something we feel that we just kind of scratched the surface.
We really do.
There is so much, like, it was so like, oh my gosh, that we don't feel that we covered half of it.
Right.
So that means we got to go back.
That means we have to go back. There was a small, I thought it would be huge, but it was pretty small, the kind of indoor booths.
Yeah.
For the smaller kind of, I don't know, whatever, indoor booth type of things. But there was a company that sold this fire starter putty. And he even had he had a hunk of the putty soaking in water. He said it was soaking there all day. He took it out of the water and squeezed it and ripped it, and it looked kind of fibrous.
Yeah, it was fibery, yeah.
And I think that's intentional. So when you pull this putty apart, it has fibers, and those fibers catch flame faster. And then he said that little chunk of putty, 1 inch, whatever cube of putty would burn for about 7 minutes, which should be enough time to get a real fire started, right?
Yeah, so this company also sold lighters and such. I don't know, I thought it was kind of fascinating how, like if, let's say you're rafting and your fire starter gets wet, well, in the case of this putty, it doesn't matter.
So all their stuff was fireproof. Well, it probably was fireproof, but it was also waterproof. It's always good to have a fireproof lighter.
Yeah, right?
Doesn't explode in your hand.
Another thing we saw a lot of was portable power stations.
Yeah.
A lot of these overlanding rigs, rather than having installed systems, take advantage of portable power stations. The one that I think might have been my favorite came from EcoFlow, because they have a DC to DC charger, and the way this thing works is you hook it to the alternator of your vehicle permanently. It's not a temporary thing. So you hook it to the alternator, and then it has connections where you can charge their portable power stations. And their portable power stations had pretty impressive specs anyway. But this thing, I think they said their larger one that they showed there on the table could go to 80% state of charge in like an hour or something. Yeah. So as you're driving down the road or off the road, you can charge up your portable power station and have that there.
Hey, should we do this out of order and have our gadget report right now?
Yeah, let's do that.
Because one of the portable power station companies, Lion Energy, was there.
Yeah.
And we are fans of Lion Energy, and when we were in Quartzsite actually in January, we bought 2 new Lion Prowlers, and they're pretty portable. But one thing that the Prowler didn't give me was the ability to hold and charge my phone you could with a cable. The Prowler has the magnetic, charging capability that you can just set your phone on it.
No, that one's not magnetic. That one is induction charger. So I think Androids will work on it too.
Okay. So this time they've come out with, this one's unopened, so I'm...
Oh, it's brand new.
I'm fiddling a little. So now Lion Energy has come out with something that's well boxed. Something that I can't get the tape off of. It's called the Lion Claw. And the great thing about the Lion Claw is, one of the great things is its size. It's also got the magnetic charging capability.
Now this one is specifically MagSafe, which is an Apple technology.
Okay, so this one's so you can use this USB-C to charge those inferior phones. But if you have an iPhone,
I mean, it's true, but
this USB-C also has there's a charging cable, so that's how you charge this little gadget. Dave from Lion Energy told me that this would charge my phone 3 times.
Well, check it out.
On a full power. That's what I was going to do.
Oh.
So what I do love is it's got that MagSafe, and it just snaps right on there, and I can still hold my phone and use it while it's charging.
Yeah.
So that was a good new addition to Lion Energy. This is going to be, and I could carry it in my pocket. I can easily stick it in my backpack. It's very lightweight, and it works just that easily.
You can charge it just by plugging it into the wall, but you can also charge it with these solar panels.
Yeah, these Lion Energy solar panels that we got. So it's a 10-watt panel.
Oh, look, it's activating. It's like, I'm out of the drawer. So the Prowler that we got in quartzite and the Lion Claw both can charge with these
10-watt solar panels.
10-watt solar panels.
And is that with the USB-C?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's an A.
Oh, so.
My word.
Oh, old-fashioned. So it's kind of a double gadget report because, the Lion Claw is the new thing that we just got. But I don't think that we've talked about those solar panels before when we bought the Prowlers. So now we have 2 Prowlers, which I'll show some pictures of, which are, more power, and they work overnight. They charge my watch and my phone with a desk nightstand type charger that I have. But this is also very, very, very handy for just carrying around. Like, you can still use your phone, take your pictures, write your texts, whatever. Scroll around Facebook.
No, look at the StressLess Camping RV.
Look at the StressLess Camping RV website.
So, yeah. More gadgets that we saw. There's a company that sends me all these press releases called Seasucker. Seasucker.
SEA, like ocean.
Right, because they make a lot of boat stuff, but they make these suction cups.
Yeah.
And they had like a tray table, a paper towel roll, a toilet roll.
They had like a bar. It was 2 suction cups with, I think, 3 holes for holding your booze bottles, and then like 5 or 6 red Solo cup holes or whatever. So it was like an actual bar that was suctioned onto the side of the car, the vehicle.
Yeah, and it'll suction on these things. They suction onto the side of RVs or vehicles or whatever. They make a huge selection of these things.
Right.
And another thing, we must have seen 200 varieties of rooftop tents.
I'm sure. Yeah. There were little ones, there were big ones, there were rooftops on top of teardrops.
Yeah.
Teardrop rooftops, tent mounts and ladders, and just rooftop galore.
Yeah, apparently if you cannot be an overlander without going on the roof of your vehicle. It just seems the way it is.
Yeah, so that just takes me out, because going up and down a ladder at any time, but especially in the middle of the night to use the potty, not my style.
Oh, the things I could say. We also got to meet Ryan of Flated.
That's right.
We interviewed in podcast 237.
We did. We interviewed him, so we got to finally actually meet him in person, which was fun.
That was cool. We saw our buddy Christopher Barth from Ember.
Yep.
I really enjoy spending time with him because he and I will just talk about RV stuff.
And of course, we're always drawn to the Lion Energy booth.
Yeah,
because it seems like every time we catch up with them, they have come up with something new that we must have.
Yeah. By the way, we have a link where you can get your own Lion stuff. But,
yeah.
Air conditioning.
Yeah, so just because you go off-road doesn't mean you don't want to be comfortable, right?
Well, that's always the question people ask us. How long can you run your RV air conditioner on battery power? Or people always say, how long can you run it on solar power? Well, you really run it on battery power.
Right, and a lot of people say you cannot run your air conditioner on battery power. Those people need to catch up to the 2020s. I was going to say the 2000s, but really it's pretty... every day of the 2020s, I think it's become better and better.
It really is. So many of us are used to those traditional RV air conditioners it's just they're loud and inefficient.
Right.
And as somebody told me who's an RV supplier, it's because the RV industry will price shop first.
Sure, of course.
But not all. For example, Grand Design had their new Lineage Class B, which we kind of mentioned earlier. It has a mini split system with the outside portion kind of shoved up under the van.
Wow.
I have written a review of this, which we'll put links to, but it turns out one of the questions that the readers of that review asked is, well, what happens with this thing? Because it's in the back under the van, right?
Yeah, isn't it getting dirty and muddy and yucky?
Yeah, they said it can be completely submerged and be fine.
Huh.
Another thing that this, and it's 20,000 BTU, typical RV air conditioner is 15, although there are a lot of 13.5 and 11,000 BTU units. So it's much more capable unit, and it's just really quiet and really efficient. They also showed off something we've seen at Quartzsite, and this is the first time I've seen an RV manufacturer doing it, a solar awning, where the awning unwraps and it's 720 watts of additional solar.
Nice. Also, remember Tony said we talked to Christopher Barth at Ember. Ember uses Furrion Chill Cube in most or all or some of their travel trailers, and so we got to stand under the almost completely silent Furrion Chill Cube and be cool while we were standing there in the Ember talking to him.
Well, what impressed me about this, and our friend Brian got one for his fifth wheel.
Yeah.
What impresses me is how efficient and quiet this thing is. And for 2 days, Christopher was running the Furrion Chill Cube on a single, it's a Battleborn 270 amp hour battery called the Game Changer. They ran it for 2 days without any of that battery reserves going down. And finally, the third day, it was pretty cloudy, and they got as low as 93% state of charge.
93? Oh, no.
I know. That's about half the size of the battery in this trailer.
Yeah, yeah. That's not that much battery.
Yeah. There was also a company called Cruise and Comfort USA that had AC systems that worked on 12, 24, and 48 volts, and they were quiet.
And they also had a vintage trailer, which of course was my, like, ooh.
Dometic, who makes a lot of RV products all over the world, they were there with a new integrated system of battery, solar, air, and vent fan. Mm-hmm. And it's designed to work either individually or as a package. But again, you can run these systems on battery power. So it's a 48 volt rooftop air conditioner and a Go Power solar and battery system. Yeah. Dometic bought Go Power.
So I've said this a few times, but I think over the last few years, we've seen lithium really start to shine and really kind of take over the battery world. And with lithium batteries, it's possible to even run the inefficient RV air conditioners, right? And now, I don't know that we're done seeing additions to lithium, but now we're also starting to see air conditioners changing. So between getting really good lithium systems and really good air conditioning systems, game changing. Yeah, like that word is not something I throw around a lot, but I think that will be game changing.
Yeah.
In the next few years. Okay, so what about some of the RVs we saw? There were very many permutations of mini overlanding trailers.
Yeah, sort of square drops. The number and scope and style of these trailers was incredible. Yeah. We also saw a few that we had written reviews of in the past, including the Escape Pod Topo 2.
So we got to kind of crawl around on those and actually see them for real, in real life. There were also a lot of like the really high-end expedition rigs, those like big kind of army tank looking RVs. Yeah,
like you're going on a safari to Africa. Yeah. That's what you'd bring, right?
Yeah.
But we also saw trailers with air suspensions and a lot of extreme components, and including the Palomino pauses and things like that. Right. So we saw a video while we were having lunch of Palomino pauses off-road, and it was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. There were a number of vintage overlanding rigs, including some Pinzgauers and Land Cruisers and a Chevy Blazer square body camper. It was just fun to see. It was kind of, there was like a whole DIY section, right? So these things that they're certainly not new. They're certainly not built as RVs.
Yeah.
But the people have said, well, wait a minute, I could turn my Blazer into an RV.
Right.
And so they did.
Well, there was a whole seminar series of how I built my overlanding rig. Right. So I don't know. These might have been part of that too.
Yeah.
But
those were, I'm sorry, those are just always really interesting because those people build exactly what they want. No matter how, and I'm going to use our own selves as an example. This Rockwood Mini Lite 2506 FK front kitchen, it's perfect for us, right? It's exactly what we need in an RV for long-term traveling with separate bedroom and separate kitchen.
And recording podcasts. But there's probably something that we would have done a little bit differently, right? And that's always, I don't know that there is a perfect RV for a perfect, there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something that you would change. Well, if you build it yourself, you make that change before you ever build it, right? So those things are built absolutely perfect for the person that built them. And so if you go into someone else's, homemade or DIY RV and say, well, why didn't you put a blah, blah, blah? I couldn't live without a blah, blah, blah. And they say, I don't need a blah, blah, blah. Right.
Right?
Yeah. Another thing we saw was the Pebble Flow, and I have a review of that thing too. It's the first time I've seen it in person. It's smaller than I thought. But one of the things that it has, the outside windows and the bathroom have this electronically operated
something.
Yeah. Basically, you flip a switch and the wall goes from being see-through glass to translucent.
Right. So in the whole entire bathroom is a glass wall until you push the button and then it's a translucent wall. And the outside windows shaded themselves or whatever, so that they're a lot of RV windows are that dark shaded so that you can't see in. And of course, if you're inside where it's light and you've got all your lights on inside and people are outside in the dark, they can see in, right? But not the opposite. If they're outside in the light and you're inside changing your clothes, you're pretty well hidden. And that Pebble Flow kind of gave that option, right? It could just be clear, see-through, let all the light and stuff through, or it could be shaded so that you couldn't see through it.
Pebble Flow has kind of its calling card is that it is available with an electric drive system, so you can use an app on your tablet and park the thing disconnected from your tow vehicle, but it also uses those electric motors to overcome the losses, like the aerodynamic losses of the trailer. But that's an option. I think that model is like $140,000 or something.
So that helps with your gas mileage?
Yeah, it apparently doesn't have any reduction of fuel mileage at all.
That would be so interesting to see.
Yeah. But it was kind of small. It was smaller than I anticipated.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just based on, I had this vision looking at it in person, and it was smaller than I thought.
What do we think we missed out on?
There were not, to my knowledge, any people there who would build a solar system for you, solar and lithium system for you. And that was surprising.
Yeah, it was. I think that ABC Upfitters would be a perfect fit for an expo.
Yeah,
for an Overland
Expo.
Would
do very well. They use all Masterbolt parts. And the nice thing is, of course, if you are off the grid, way out in the backwoods or whatever, or where these Masterbolt parts originated, out at sea, they are reliable, they all work together, they all communicate with one another, and ABC works with you to customize the system for the way you camp. So they ask you a lot of questions and find out what your needs are, and then build a custom system using Mastervolt parts for those needs.
So if that interests you and you didn't see them at Overland Expo, give them a call. ABC Upfitters at 574-333-3225.
That's 574-333-3225.
Or use the link in our show notes or this QR code covering our faces right now. And check out ABC Upfitters.
Absolutely. Hey, do we have a Goofy USA this week?
We have a Goofy USA this week, and for you video watchers, you're gonna go and find it on a different video. As you know, we are gonna go to the Slug Bug Ranch in Amarillo, Texas.
Well, this week's RV of the week is one we've been missing because we haven't seen as many in person lately.
That's true.
But we saw the Ember RV Spark 12RK, and this is a square drop trailer.
Well, so obviously we saw it at Overland Expo.
Yeah. We saw it at Overland Expo, and there will be a separate review and video. It's a square drop trailer, and it's a little unremarkable in that field, with the exception of a lot of the teardrop square drops that we saw were like $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. This has an MSRP of under 18.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very affordable. A lot of features included, including water heater, a furnace. It has a water system. It does not have a gray or black water system, though. A fairly large bedroom as far as teardrops go.
Yeah.
A lot of what some teardrops have as options were included with this. It's got a torsion axle suspension. So if you're looking to get one of these teardrops, I think Ember has done a great job with their 12RK. Mm-hmm. Very affordable, nicely designed, and fairly capable at a price. I mean, if you consider typical RV discounts, this thing is very affordable.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're kind of back on track with the question of the week. We had kind of gotten out of the habit on that, but last week our question was, what would your RV say about your last adventure? And we've had some really fun answers. I appreciate you guys answering. They're fun to read. And by the way, Tom and Marilyn, full timing, huh? I like it.
Yeah. So this week we spent getting to and from Overland Expo. We spent some time on Route 66 again. And there was some posts on a Facebook group where it was specific to Winslow, Arizona, and people were not happy with the new stuff that was kind of a tribute to Route 66. And so our question this week is, Route 66, retro or revise? What would you prefer and why?
Would you prefer that they turn everything back and make it look like it came from the 1930s, which has a huge appeal to me, right? The neon and the old, the individual building old motels and stuff like that. I love a lot of that stuff. But honestly, if you want to build something that is a tribute to old Route 66, but it's very, very modern, I'm all over that as well. Well,
and that's what we want to hear from you. There are I know of 2 new Route 66 neon parks, where one is all recreations of signs and one is basically fixed up old signs. So anyway, you can answer that at our fun and friendly StressLess Campers Facebook group.
Yep.
We want to remind you, until May 31st, you can still enter to win the Air Gear Easy Air remote tire inflation gadget.
That's right.
But
you have to be signed up for our weekly email newsletter, and you have to respond to that newsletter with something that says, hey, I want to win. We have told you before, we don't send more than one newsletter because we're not organized enough.
No, more than one a week.
I'm sorry, more than one a week because we're not that organized. Also, keeping track of people commenting on YouTube and everywhere else in the universe is very hard for us to manage. If you respond to the newsletter, we make sure it gets in the folder of people who have responded to the newsletter.
Right, and then
otherwise, I can't guarantee that your name is going to wind up in the list.
The whole objective is to sign up for the newsletter.
Right.
So that's why we're giving this away. So you will find show notes for this episode, number 308, on the podcast page at StressLessCamping.com. You can also sign up for the newsletter there if you have not yet. Yep. Any page just about, or StressLessCamping.com/contact.
You can also go to the website, StressLessCamping.com, and check out our favorite RV products and services page, where you're going to find our favorite RV products and services.
Wow, imagine that.
And a lot of those favorite products and services have discounts, so you'll want to check those out.
Yep, of course, we're in all the social places, but you can start at StressLessCamping.com, and from there jump off to all the places that we all enjoy wasting time on the internet.
If you are a listener and not a watcher, and you don't want to miss future episodes of the StressLess Camping Podcast, please know that it will always be free to subscribe on any podcast. Well, unless that podcast app decides to charge, but we will not charge you. But we are saving you a seat around our virtual campfire.
Yep, and if you're on YouTube watching this, please do a thumbs up and maybe share. And you can subscribe too, and your comments are always appreciated as well.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for joining us this week. We hope to see you out there on the road, not off the road, because we don't really go there, unless you want to give us a ride in your Jeep or something.
Well, we do have a 4-wheel drive truck.
Well, we do. But until we see you again,
Stressless camping.